information station, 1370 WOCA.
Ocala.
All right, 20 minutes after 11 o'clock. Thank you for tuning in this Tuesday morning. Robin, I'm looking forward to this next interview because I'm curious how many of the top selling books of 2014 have been represented in our interviews during the course of the year. We interview so many authors, and almost it seems like every one of them is a New York Times best-selling author, right?
Yes.
And that's not an easy task to accomplish, to be able to get a book into the New York Times best-selling list. So we're very fortunate that we're able to get those authors. But today we're going to find out the top 20 best-selling books of 2014. Sara Nelson is on the phone. She's the editorial director at Amazon.com. Good morning, Sara.
Hi, how are you?
Pretty good. Thank you for calling in. Where are you right now?
I'm in New York City.
All right. So, Robin and I are anxiously awaiting what this list says because I'm trusting on her memory. I have a hard time remembering all the guests that we've spoken to, but we interview sometimes 3 authors a morning. It depends, on the day. So anyway, thank you. By the way, I'm an Amazon customer.
Oh, great.
So your work is, what do you do specifically before you get into the list?
Well, I have a team of 5, and so the 6 of us, along with some other readers around Amazon, compile the best of the month list and the best of the year list, which is a personal curated list, separate from the bestseller list. Sometimes you'll see there's overlap with what we recommend and what sells, but we're sort of in the business of trying to unite readers with books that they might not otherwise know about. So the books that we choose for our best of lists are usually, not always, but often books that, are not necessarily from names because you're going to hear about those elsewhere. So, there's sometimes overlap with what we choose and what becomes a bestseller, and that's all to the good, too.
Oh, that's interesting. So, and does the electronic book, the Kindle, for example, does it compete with the actual book, or is the list we're going to hear a combination of books that have been sold electronically and physically?
The list you're going to hear is both formats.
Okay. All right. Are we going to go 20 to 1 or 1 down to 20? What direction we go?
We could do it either way. All
right. Let's start at 20. What's the number 20 book?
20 is Flash Boys by Michael Lewis.
Okay.
Who wrote Moneyball.
Okay.
19 is City of Heavenly Fire, which is part of the Mortal Instruments series by Cassandra Clare. It's a young adult. Diary of a Wimpy Kid, the kid's book, The Long Haul by Jeff Kinney. Written in My Own Heart's Blood. This is number 17. That's Diana Gabaldon. It's a historical. Field of Prey by John Sanford. Blood Magic by Nora Roberts. Mr. Mercedes by Stephen King. Number 13 is Shadow Spell by Nora Roberts. So there you go. You got 2.
We've had her on, right, Robin?
Yes.
We've had Nora on. Okay.
Yeah, and Jeff Kinney from Diary of a Wimpy Kid. We've had him.
Okay,
on.
good. We haven't had Stephen King ever, but
no.
Right. Well, he writes at least 1 book a year, so pretty soon you're going to get a chance, would be my guess. Edge of Eternity is book 3 of the Century Trilogy. That's the Ken Follett.
Yeah, we've had him on.
Right, and that's 1,000 pages, I think, that book. Unlucky 13, a James Patterson with Maxine Petro.
Yeah, have them on.
Robin, it's amazing. You remember all these? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Killing Patton, The Strange Death of World War II's Most Audacious General. That's Bill O'Reilly. Number 10. Number 9 is Top Secret 21, which is a Janet Ivanovich, Stephanie Plum mystery.
We've had her.
Right. Number 8 is The Heroes of Olympus, Book 5. It's called The Blood of Olympus by Rick Riordan.
Oh, yeah.
Book. Yeah, it's great.
Interviewed him.
Number 7 is The Fixed Trilogy by Laura Lynn Page. Number 6 is The Target by David Baldacci.
Had him.
Number 5 is Big Little Lies by Leon Moriarty. Did you ever have her on? She's delightful. 20 Seconds Ago is The New Lead Child. All the Light We Cannot See by Anthony Doerr.
He was on.
Right, he was nominated for National Book Award this year. Gray Mountain by John Grisham.
Mm-hmm.
and The Invention of Wings by Sue Monk Kidd, which was a favorite of ours and also was chosen by the Oprah Book Club this year.
That's number one. Wow. And so we've had some of them on the show here. It's kind of cool that we've been able to do that. So do you, when you pick your favorites, that must definitely influence the buying of a book, right?
Yeah, it does. I mean, it depends book to book, and we saw some real sales success with the book that we picked as our favorite novel of the year, which is called Everything I Never Told You, which is a kind of a sleeper. It had been well reviewed, but it was not a blockbuster, and it's about a mixed-race family in Ohio in the 70s. Reminded me a lot of a book called The Lovely Bones, which was very popular a few years ago. And we see a real jump in sales when we pick something like that, particularly. We always see a jump, but we don't do it. We really do it to pick books that we love, and if they go on to be more successful because we picked them, that's great. Happy to,
Have you, because of what you do, and you're obviously so knowledgeable about books in general, have you ever come across like a self-published book that just blew you away, and then and you said, gosh, and give him a month or 6 months and some publisher will pick them up, and certainly that has happened. Any stories like that?
Well, certainly that does happen. I mean, I remember reading Wool years ago and thinking that that something's gonna happen with this book, which it did. There's a book called War Brides that you could tell. You can tell when something's gonna hit. I mean, sometimes,
How can an author debut at number one?
Yeah, how does that happen?
You mean on our list, or you mean?
Yes. Or
any list, really.
Any list. How can they?
Sometimes recording artists do that, and too. You'll see Stevie Wonder's number one. This goes way back, but
yeah,
he releases an album and it's number one already.
Right. Well, I mean, the pre-orders and the bestseller lists that you read. Well, the bestseller lists on Amazon are of that exact moment. It's completely in real time. Some other places, when you read bestseller lists, if you look at the fine print, they're from 2 weeks earlier. So, in other words, there's time. The week ending, whatever. A book gets great word of mouth in advance. I mean, great publicity on the part of the publisher. Word of mouth. I mean, there are now all kinds of places where people can get a hold of advanced copies of books. And sometimes things debut at number one because they're by writers that have huge fan bases.
Right.
And are already,
Dean Koontz wasn't on the list this year, huh? Is Dean Koontz normally on the list or no?
I'm sorry, does Dean Koontz, what was the question?
He was not on the list this year, on your list.
I think not in the top 20. Let me just double check. Yeah, no, not in the top 20. It doesn't mean it wasn't a huge bestseller.
No, I know. He's been on our show a couple of times. Not lately. I think I might have insulted him one time. No, I'm teasing. Well, Sarah, this is fun stuff, especially for us because we do interview a lot of authors, and thank you for what you do. You got 45 seconds. Do we have any predictions? Any big book coming up that you can predict will be big in 2015?
Well, I would just say keep your eye out for a number of books that are looking to be the next Gone Girl, that are psychological thrillers about women at the center and women who are not so innocent. There are a couple of them, and I think that you're going to see probably a year of books competing for that level of success.
All right. Wow. Sarah, thank you for taking time out of your day to talk to us. That was fun for us, especially. We will take a look. Oh, go to Amazon.com if you want to buy a book.
Yeah.
Definitely. All right. We'll be right back. This is WOCA.
Fox News Radio, I'm Lillian Wu. After a 9-hour-long battle with militants, a siege at a school in Pakistan is over.
More than 120 people are thought to be dead, the majority of them children, after an army school in the city of Peshawar was targeted. The Pakistani Taliban claiming responsibility